I am known in literary circles as an author of great acclaim. My books are quoted in essays, praised in classrooms, gifted at holidays. People write to me, strangers, saying my words saved them. But here is the truth, whispered only now, under my breath and into the dark. I have never written a word of my books, not one. And if you think that is a metaphor, I assure you, it is not. I was not always a man of letters. Once, I was a plumber, hands thick with calluses, waking early to fix rusted pipes and unclog drains. A simple trade, honest, lonely. I had no wife, no children, and very few friends. In the evenings, I read. That was my indulgence. While others drank to forget, I read to disappear. Books became companions. Characters were the voices that echoed in the quiet halls of my home. I bought a house when I was 26, a modest place, old enough to creak. The idea had been to rent out rooms, to let others cover the mortgage. But I never did. I told myself I was too private. But the truth, I simply didn't know how to share my space. I'd lived inside my mind for far too long. And so the house remained mine, and mine alone. It began, as most stories do, by accident. I was tearing up the carpet in a guest room, intending to lay new flooring. As I pulled away the aged fabric, I found it a hidden door, flat in the closet floor, with a brass handle dulled by time, beneath a crawlspace. The air was fetid, stale with rot and rust and something sour, like wet fur or forgotten metal. I stooped low, shuffling forward in a space barely tall enough to crouch, and there, not 10 paces in, lay a stack of papers. No folder, no clips, just 20 pages, white, clean, crisp, as though they had just emerged from a printer that had never existed. That night, I read them, and my world's quiet, cold, simple was torn open. The story was beautiful, but that word does it no justice. It was truer than anything I had ever read. The sentences pulled me forward like a rope through the dark. I did not eat. I did not blink. I did not move until the final word. Except there was no final word. The last page ended in the middle of a sentence. A thought suspended in time. I flipped through them again, and again, and again. I couldn't sleep. I paced. I reread. I tried television, music. Nothing worked. I needed to finish the story. 2 nights passed before I returned to the crawlspace. I told myself I would bury the pages there, leave them behind. But waiting for me was another stack. More pages. The story continued seamlessly. Each chapter built upon the last. The characters deepened. The world expanded. It was a living story, and I was its only reader. When I reached the end, I cried. Not out of sadness, but grief for the ending of something more real than my own memories. Eventually, I sent the manuscript to agents. I had to do something with it. Within days, responses flooded in. Stunning, masterful, unlike anything we've seen. I didn't correct them when they praised me. I simply nodded and signed. Publishing was quick. Too quick. You're a once-in-a-generation talent, my editor whispered. I wouldn't change a word. The book sold wildly. Awards followed. They called me a literary genius. But I was only a messenger. Time passed. One night, months later, I could not sleep. I stared at the ceiling. The silence pressed in. I went back down. Another story had arrived. That was the pattern. I had to share the last to receive the next. And so it went. Every 6 months, I would publish a new book. Every 6 months, I would crawl back into the darkness. People began calling me a prodigy, but I was nothing. I was no more the author than a bottle is the wine. I stopped reading other books. They tasted of dust and ash. Only the crawlspace pages felt alive against my better judgment. I agreed to a book signing. Hundreds came, smiling, shaking, eyes wide. "Your stories changed my life," one said. "They're all I can read now," said another. One man looked at me and said, "I hate you." I laughed nervously. "No," he said, "I mean it." A girl clutched a battered copy. "Why can't I stop reading?" she sobbed. The last woman in line said nothing. She held the first edition, her eyes red, her skin jaundiced. She never looked up. She simply trembled. I never did another signing, but I kept publishing. I tried to stop. God help me. I tried, but the stories, they call to me. My hair falls in clumps. My gums bleed. My skin is yellowing. And yet every 6 months I crawl. The trapdoor creaks. The papers await. And I deliver them to the world that begs for another taste. And why not? It's not like I write them. I never have. Not even these words now. Especially not these.